Views and opinions expressed on this program or the products endorsed on this program are not necessarily those of KTLV Radio.
Good morning, Oklahoma City, and welcome to the Clara Luper Show. In a moment, your host, Sister Clara Luper.
Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Oh, Lord.
Oh, what a happy day. Oh, what a joyous day. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is Calvin Luper, live and in living color here, 12:20 a.m. on your radio dial. Do me a favor. Call that friend, call that neighbor, and invite them to be a part of this very special show this morning. It is indeed a pleasure. It is indeed a thrill to be in the presence of the radio show host today. It is indeed an outstanding opportunity just to be around her because of the fact that recently she was named one of the 50 most influential people of the 20th century in our great state of Oklahoma. Recently, she was, shall I say, the article in the Oklahoma Today magazine talked about a young lady that will be hosting this radio show this morning. So call that friend, call that neighbor, and invite them to be a part of this, not only black history, but Oklahoma history. She's there in the list with people like Barry Switzer, like Jim Thorpe, like Bud Wilkerson, like Robert S. Kerr, like 47 other influential Oklahomans who were named as the 50 most influential Oklahomans in the 20th century. I am so very proud, and it's indeed a pleasure, as I said, to introduce to you, to present to most of you, and to remind you and to let you know that this is a great show and that we're celebrating all week, because on Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the Petroleum, at 6 p.m. at the Petroleum Club, Mom, your radio show hostess, will be presented with an award or with a plaque, but I don't know if a plaque or award will be able to really express the feeling that we as a family have, that we as a civil rights family have for our friend, for our neighbor, for our mother, and for a young lady who has dedicated her life for the betterment, not only her kids, not only her house, but for this entire community. So it is with a great deal of pleasure that I introduce to you this morning my mom, the civil rights leader, one of the 50 most influential people in the great state of Oklahoma. Here you go, Mom. It's on you now.
Thank you, Calvin, and a happy good morning to you wherever you are. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by Gates Barbershop, located at 2609 Northeast of Martin Luther King in Oklahoma City, and you can get your hair cut there today. This program is brought to you by Hometown, located at 2001 Northeast 23rd Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It's brought to you by Allstate Insurance Company's agent, Merlin Hildred. All right, will you tell us about
Merlin Hildred, Mom? That gives me another reason to brag, because Merlin is your daughter. But you know that. You knew that before I did. But Merlin Hildred is not only your daughter, but a great insurance agent. Matter of fact, she's one of the best agents in the Allstate Corporation Company. Her office is located at 730 West Britton Road, where she has a beautiful staff there. April Hildred, Mrs. Downey, and of course yours truly on a temporary basis, I guess, but you never can tell. But Merlin Hildred is the agent of agents. You know why? Because she's concerned about your insurance needs, your home insurance, your life insurance, your motorcycle insurance, your boat insurance, any of your insurance needs. Give Merlin a call, 843-0811, or stop by 730 West Britton Road. You know, Merlin has added something special too, Mom, because on Saturdays from 9 to 12, the office is open there at 730 West Britton Road, and then there's an extension office that just is recently opened that's located there at 23rd and Bryant Avenue in the Northeast Plaza, is what I'd like to call it, because of the fact that there's so many things that you can do there. You can get your auto tags, you can get your papers notarized, you can pay your bills, you have your Western Union there, but most importantly, you have Allstate Insurance there, and Merlin Hildred herself there to help you with all of your insurance needs. But give us a call, 843-0811.
Celebrate your African American heritage with a new authentic traditional outfit from Gideon's 300 store. All traditional outfits on sale from 10 to 50% off. Also available are the latest hip-hop fashions from New York. Fuba, Sean John, Fat, Farm, and more. Come in and cash in on the savings at Gideon's 300 store, located at 6006 South Weston. Open Mondays through Saturdays from 10 to 7 p.m. A thank you from my brothers of Phi Beta Sigma who gave me an award on last Saturday. Thank you, Phi Beta Sigma brothers. A thank you from me to the students at the University of Central Oklahoma. I had the opportunity to help them kick off their Black History celebration. And was it a kickoff? I wish you could have been there. I wish you could have seen those young people and what they were doing for Black history. And I would like to tell you that tonight is a night that Miss Black UCO will be selected. Miss Black UCO will represent that fine university at the state pageant June 18th through the 24th. Also at Oklahoma University tonight, the Miss Black Oklahoma University pageant will be held, and these pageants will start at 7 p.m. sharp. And let me go back and tell you that Miss Black UCO will be held in Mitchell Hall. Miss Black Cameron University will be held tonight at 7 p.m. and it's going to be a pageant. And I must tell you that Miss Black Duncan's pageant will be held tonight. Those of you that are interested in Miss Black Oklahoma pageant, and I thank those of you that have called. Remember, February the 15th is the deadline to get in that pageant. Today's program is going to be one that you will never forget, and I don't want you to forget it because I do have some things that I want to say, and I want to say out loud, and I'm going to call upon you, the public, to help me. I would like to announce that the Fifth Street's annual Black History Breakfast, that's hosted by the Luper family, will be held in the morning at 7 o'clock. The guest speaker will be Abe Kelly. Abe Kelly will be the guest speaker, but that breakfast will be in honor of someone from Gary, Oklahoma. This person that we will honor tomorrow at 7 a.m. is from Gary, Oklahoma. She was someone that you will never forget. Grew up, graduated from Douglas High School in Gary, Oklahoma, moved to Oklahoma City, went to the School of Nursing in New York, where she lived and worked for 10 years. While in New York, she enrolled in Queens College. She moved back to Oklahoma City and received both a Bachelor of Science degree and a Master's degree from Oklahoma Central University, which is now the University of Central Oklahoma. She became a member of the Fifth Street Missionary Baptist Church upon her first arrival in Oklahoma City. Even though while she was in New York, she still continued her membership with Fifth Street. She has worked and served in many capacities in her church. She has served her church on a local, state, and national levels, bringing honor to her church. She now serves as president of the Senior Usher Board. Sister Slaughter taught for many years in the public school system. She was a counselor her last year of employment. She had to retire due to some minor illness. God has certainly smiled upon Anna Slaughter. Having lost her father at 5 years of age and her mother shortly before she finished high school, she has worked, and she has proved that hard work pays. And I would like for the friends of Anna Slaughter, who is a poet, who is a dramatist, who can do I Have a Dream like no one else, and who's a playwright, I would like for you to come out in the morning at 7 o'clock at Fifth Street Baptist Church, 801 Northeast 5th Street, and I want you to congratulate her. Give her flowers while she lives. Congratulations are in order for all of you yesterday, especially those of you at the Veterans Hospital in the Chase Auditorium, where we had the opportunity to hear a mammoth Black History address by Shelley Luper. Congratulations, Shelley. We really enjoyed it. Miss Black Oak pageant will be held on February the 19th, 2000. And Mr. Calvin Whitaker will be one of the judges at that pageant. Mr. Burley and Nero will represent the staff of Miss Black Oklahoma at Miss Black OU tonight. And another group will represent the state in Edmond, Oklahoma. Now, today I would like to finish my advertising before I stop and talk, because we have a very controversial subject today. Because we're going to be talking about the school board election, and I'm going to be asking some questions, and you have called me and wanted to know how I'm going to vote. Well, I'm going to ask some questions, and I think this is what we all should do. We should ask some questions, and if the answers to these questions come up to our satisfaction, I think then and then only shall we vote, because we should vote intelligently. Those of you that are calling me, will you just hold on? I will be with you in just a minute. I would like to tell you about a Black History celebration down at the Metropolitan Baptist Church. And I would like for Mrs. Hester to please call me and give me further details. I understand that that program will be held on Sunday, and it's going to be a program because they are going to recognize the leaders of all of the Masonic and Eastern Star leaders. Now, that program will be February the 13th at 3 p.m. It will be called a Black Heritage Program. It will be held at the Metropolitan Baptist AME Church. I'm sorry. It's going to be at the Metropolitan AME Church. Don't take my word for it. Miss Hester will tell you, and they are going to plan a 100-year capsule that will be open 100 years later. As February 13th, 3 p.m. at the Metropolitan AME Church. And I know Lady Ruth is really happy to hear that. We are talking about, today we are going to be talking about the Oklahoma City school system. Now, I have some questions that I want answered. And if you can answer these questions, then we will be able to go on with the program. And I don't want anything answered but the questions. I don't want you to tell me a lot of stuff. Yesterday I had the opportunity to join others at the dedication of the Dr. A.L. Dow building. Sure, as a historian, I was quite concerned because Dr. A.L. Dow's name is not on that bridge because he was a good man, because he was a friend of somebody else, because he was on there because he paid his dues. Let me give you just a bit of background. Let's roll the clock back to 1961, where they had a system in Oklahoma City. If you were white, you could be transferred to any school, but if you were black, you were pushed back. Dr. Dow's 14-year-old son, Robert Dow, applied to Northeast High School, where he was denied admission, and Dr. A.L. Dow took that case to the United States Supreme Court. Now, listen at the story, but listen at this. Can you believe that the Oklahoma City school system in 1961 had a system where if you were white, you could be transferred out. If you were black, you had to stay in. Dr. Dow said no, no, no. And for 4 years, now listen, 4 years, Dr. Dow suffered humiliation, abusement, scandal, and there were people that ran from him just like they were afraid of him. But during these years, he stood, the NACP and the Honorable John Green and others stood with him. That's why that bridge is named after him. It was Judge Luther Bohannon who ruled that the transfer system used in the Oklahoma City school system was illegal and had no place in education. I want to repeat that. That bridge is named after Dr. Dow, not because he's a good man, sure he's a good man, but because of his stand in civil rights. His stand, he stood, I remember so well when we were fighting for the rights for blacks to move in the northwest part of part of town in Edmond. And he stood in the city council and would not take a seat until that ordinance was passed. Dr. Dow has suffered. He's been abused. But yesterday the bridge was named after his honor. There was a lot of hee-hawing, but the real hee-hawing did not come to the surface, because I want this audience, when you cross that bridge, to know that Dr. Dow earned his right through sacrifice, through suffering, through tears, through prayers. Yes, Dr. Dow, I would like to personally thank you. Clara Luper reporting. Now, back to the questions that I want answered. The people in Oklahoma City will be voting on whether or not the school board should be trusted with how many $1 million, Calvin?
Mom, that's $53 million.
$53 million.
I believe that is. Now, I know a little bit about that bond issue. You know a little bit, but we have a call on the line.
No, don't say I know a little bit, because
I don't know.
I have a special report that's coming in from Rosetta Coleman.
Well, you have a special reporter also on the phone.
I have a special report on Rosetta Coleman.
But it is $53 million. I know that.
Okay, we were talking about the bond issue, but we must have people aware of what is happening in our area. Mrs. Rosetta Coleman is a patron in the Dungy area, and which is now the Star Spencer area, and she has a report on an incident that could help all of us. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and this part of the show is brought to you by Soul Bazaar 2000, which is April the 7th and 8th, 2000. That will be held in the Ramada Inn. We need your support for that program. Once again, tonight is Miss Black UCO night in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This portion of our program is brought to you by Miss Black Oklahoma. Miss Black UCO is tonight. Miss Black OU is tonight. Miss Black Cameron University is tonight. Miss Black Duncan is tonight. Do I have Rosetta?
No, Mom, you don't have Rosetta on the phone, but I'm certain that she will be calling. We are going to be discussing the upcoming
school bond issue. And I'm expecting Joyce after I hear Roberta.
So after we talk to Mrs. Coleman, we'll talk with Joyce Henderson.
And then we will give the public and the people a chance to answer.
Because, there are a lot of questions that a lot of people have had on their minds. At least they've called, looking like once every 30 minutes.
I've written these questions down so I can't miss them. Once again, the bridge is named after Dr. Dow.
Dr. Robert A. Dow.
Not because of his goodness, not because of his connections with some political leaders, but because of the fact that he sacrificed blood, tears for the cause, and made it possible for black teachers to teach in white schools and white teachers to teach in black schools.
Well, Mom, Dr. Dow. Yes, we have Rosetta Coleman now. But Dr. Dow is, he just didn't do it one time. He just didn't do it for those 4 years. But he's continued to be a fighter, and they're in the vanguard of any fight that's necessary that was going to improve and going to help our community. You go, Dr. Dow. We're very proud of you. But, Mom, we have on the line none other than a dynamic young lady named Mrs. Rosetta Coleman. Good morning, Mrs. Coleman. How are you doing?
Good morning, Calvin. How are you?
Fantastic now.
Okay, I want you to tell the people what happened at the Star Spencer School this week.
Oh, I attended a ball game Thursday night at Star Spencer School, and I have never, I'm seriously, old as I am, I have never witnessed such an incident at a school after a ball game. They just had to, still don't know what happened. They said it was the cheerleaders fighting each other, but that I really I'm not sure that is exactly what happened. But that's what they are saying. But it was so many police cars out there, and they even had to call in for the sheriffs to back them up with the students just gathered in there. So, and I understand several children ran by me trying to get back in the school to get something out of their eyes. So I imagine they dispersed a little gas in there to dismantle the crowd that was out there. And it was just terrible.
Okay, now you went to the game. What time were you able to go home? And then you had my kids out there with you.
Yes, I did, but I decided to stay inside the building with my children until all of most of the crowd had gotten out. But that didn't work out, and I stayed in there a good 30 minutes, and when we came out right in the middle of it.
And you didn't get home until about 11 o'clock?
It was about a quarter till 11.
Thank you so very kindly for that report. Thank you, Rosetta.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the Clara Luper radio show, and this part of the show is brought to you by Johnson Sardinas, located at 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. At Johnson Sardinas, you can be assured of one thing, and that is that your child will get the best service. 424-4656. Johnson Sardinas, owned by Mrs. Gloria Matthews and Mr. Paul Matthews, all at 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Once again, I told you about that big sale at Gideon's 300th store, 6006 South Weston in Oklahoma City. Charles Smith said you can have your cake and eat it too at Leo's Barbecue, 3631 North Kelly in Oklahoma City. You can go by and get that kind of barbecue that you want. Don't forget Discount Carpet, 501 Northwest 23rd Street. They're having one of the biggest sales of the year, all at Discount Carpet. A big sale. Everything is on sale. And go there. I know you're ready.
Yes, we're ready, Mom.
Are you ready to go?
We're ready to go. We're almost as ready to go as Mr. Gates was this morning at 8 a.m. when he opened the barbershop with his new winter hours, Mom. You know, they're at 2609 North Martin Luther King. Mr. Gates has those new winter hours where he opens at 8 and is open until noontime. Then he takes an hour off for lunch. He goes to one of these nice restaurants right here in the area. Comes back after 12. I think it opens back up at 1. And is there for your convenience until 6 to 7 p.m. Can you believe that winter hours, a specialty this year at Robert Gates Barbershop, 2609 North Martin Luther King, where ... we make people beautiful. You go, Mr. Gates.
The questions that I want answered this morning during this broadcast are as follows. The first question, and they don't have to be answered in the order that I'm asking them. If the bond issue is passed, is it true that Star Spencer Green Pastures elementary schools will be closed? That's the first one. The second, will students get a better education in larger schools? The third question, what will happen to the principals of the three schools? Will the new school, they are talking about building, have an auditorium or a gymnasium? The next question, what about the class sizes in the new school? What will happen to the buildings of the old schools if the schools are closed? Why can't the administrators, the school board, come up with a solution before the voting is done on the bud issue? Has the school board been offered a big price for the property on Northeast 23rd and Douglas Boulevard in order that it can be developed for commercial use? How much would it cost to repair the old schools? So, is it true that they have a traveling counselor, one traveling counselor, or one music teacher that visits the schools in the northeast part of Oklahoma City once a week? What protection will be given to the teachers? Will they have to reapply for their old jobs? So that's what I want to know.
That's one question, but then another question has come up is the fact of the where the money will come from. Will the money just come from homeowners on the bond issue, or will it just will the apartment dwellers will they be taxed on this bond issue?
Okay, well, we have something to talk about, and I have one of my favorite people on the line, Joyce. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Miss Luper. Let me first congratulate you for being one of the most influential people, not only in the century, but in my life.
Well, I really thank you because I have gotten few congratulations from the people that I know best. But from all over this country, I've gotten congratulations. Thank you for that. I needed it.
All right, thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you this morning. Many of the questions that you have asked, we have not made all of those decisions, at least at this point. But I can say that every effort will be made to make sure that the right thing will take place with those who live in the Spencer area. I can say, yes, the schools, the three schools that you named, Green Pasture, Star, and Spencer Elementary Schools, if the bond is voted on, will be consolidated into a new school that is in the bond election, which will cost approximately $8 million. The property has not been decided on at this time. I do know that administrators are looking at different property areas out there, but at this time, no negotiation, to my knowledge, has taken place.
You mean to tell me that the Board of Education is asking the people to vote for a bond issue, and the administrators have even decided where the school would be located?
Well, that's what I said. I said they've looked at different properties, but no, we have not decided which property would be selected. There are so many variables that and of course legal and negotiations that must take place, and we're not in that position now, and it would probably be too premature to say it's going to be at any particular location when you don't have this particular bond issue passed. We just know that it will be in the Spencer area.
Is that in the city of Spencer, or will it be in the Dungey area?
Well, see, I don't know that because that decision has not been made.
Okay, so you're asking me to vote without the decision being made where the school will be located?
Well, in the bond election itself, we did not have to specify a location where the building would be placed, but we did have to specify that a new school would be built in the Spencer area, and that's what the bond issue is addressing, that a new school will be built, but we did not have to spell out the spot where it will be built.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay, you asked questions about whether or not personnel issues, and at this time personnel issues have not been decided. We're talking about whether or not all three of those principals would be displaced. We don't know which principal, the teachers. We do know that a larger school will need more teachers. Now that.
But what about those three principals? Will they be?
Well, let me say, being a former principal, we are.
And a good one of the best in the United States. And you know, I was angry when they moved you out of the school system. You know that.
Well, yes, and thank you for that. But I know as a principal, we work for the district. We are not guaranteed from year to year to be at a particular school. So anytime there is an assignment change, we still have a position in the Oklahoma City Public Schools, but not necessarily at a particular school.
Okay, now let's talk about these three principals, and I don't even know who they are.
I know them well, and you're talking about three very good principals.
Now, these three principals will be placed in the Oklahoma City school system?
Yes, they will be.
As principals?
Oh, yes, I'm sure.
Okay, well, where will they be principals since all those schools have principals?
Those decisions have not been made.
Oh,
and even the principals who are at their schools now could be changed.
But they will still be principals. They will still be principals.
Oh, yes.
Okay, is that a promise?
Unless there are some things that are going on I'm not aware of, they will still be principals.
Okay, now, I didn't like one bit because they say the teachers have to reapply from those three schools. Why do they have to reapply?
Well, I'm not, that part, personnel, those personnel issues, I really don't have the expertise to talk about that. I'm hearing that process from your radio station, but when we open up a new school, when I open up class, then I know we have to start from the ground up. Now, whether or not teachers have to literally reapply, I'm not familiar with what process they're going to use. I just don't think all of those issues have been decided on at this point. Somebody may be speculating on this is what will happen, but Dr. Vasconzo is the associate superintendent, and he probably could handle those personnel issues like that, as well as Dr. Joe Ciano, who is assistant superintendent. But I don't have the particulars, and I really would prefer not to give out false information.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I can say this, again, just like principals have a contract with the district, teachers have